And did I just not have my mic on? Oh my gosh. Okay. So let me just start over. So, welcome. My name is Writer Maven. This is Save Point, which we are going to be playing Breath of Fire 4. We're going to be talking Judgment Day, AAA, Monday Night Raw preview, and the different ways the Judgment Day can go. Um,
I'm surprised they didn't quit.
and my husband is playing Modern Warfare 3. We are going to be going over a lot of things. How Dom can go to two different paths. Why AAA's Dom needs to show up in the WWE sooner rather than later. And just where we're going to discuss if Judgment Day implodes or breaks apart. So let's start with AAA. We're covering just happened tonight. It's going to be we had the contract signing of Dominik and Vikingo, and this is the match they have set for the Mega Championship at Rio de Reyes. Vikingo stipulation to Dom if Dom loses, Dom must leave AAA forever, and I'm not sure if his hair is going to be on the line for this. Um, I don't know if that was taken off the table, but I'm not sure. But Dom must leave AAA forever, and it's a non-disqualification match at Rio de Reyes. And then for Dom's stipulation is that if he wins, Vikingo cannot challenge Dom for the Mega Championship as long as Dom is the champion. We have the typical segment of Dom having swagger and he's talking trash, talking shit to Omos and Vikingo. Omos and Vikingo corner Dom, and this is where El Grande Americano comes out with the chair and saves Dom. And then, while El Grande Americano is thinking he's buddy with Dom, El Grande Americano Original comes out to attack El Grande Americano. Say that 3 times fast. And the kicker here, Dom does not help and leaves his savior behind. Now, as I was saying, the AAA Dom needs to show up in the WWE. The difference between WWE Dom and AAA Dom is night and day. You can see the more calculating heel side of Dom in AAA, and I really want to see that in WWE because what we're getting now doesn't is we thought we would be getting this version soon in the WWE. And as Khalib has was saying, as he could see Dom with Stephanie, this is a Dom I could actually see with Stephanie. I could actually see this Dom with Roxanne. But if we're going to be getting a different version of Dom, and if we actually get this AAA version of Dom, then that would make this would make more sense if we actually started to see this in the WWE. But yeah, the sticker here is that Dom is still being a heel. He is not changing. The crowd is cheering for him, but he's still being a Rudo. He's still being a heel. That is not changed. So, and this presentation of Dom across WWE hasn't changed. It's not like we're getting the weird thing of El Grande Americano Original as a face in the WWE, and El Grande Americano Ludwig Edition is a heel, and then in AAA, El Grande Americano Original is a heel in AAA, and El Grande Americano Ludwig Edition is a face. We're not getting that. Dom is staying a heel across both promotions. So we're still getting heel Dom. It's just Dom's presentation varies wildly between the WWE and AAA. He has no loyalty. Like El Grande Americano Ludwig Edition saved Dom, and he just left him. Like that's you can't get more healer than that. This also is kind of lining up, sort of, which is why I'm saying we might be getting AAA Dom. This is lining up with how he was treating Liv. And if you have been looking at my recent shorts and my post on the X, you have noticed that I have brought that to light. And people are arguing semantics over what is being said, what Stephanie said, and Dom might have been translating what Stephanie said in the different variants, but I'll get into that later. But what we need to focus on is that what Stephanie said and what was officially translated by the WWE is not what Dom said. It varies. But we'll get into that later. Um, um, Also, with this leave AAA forever stipulation and Vikingo can't challenge Dom if Dom wins, this kind of sets up that for Dom to win. It's when with the hair, there's always a possibility Dom lose. I mean, you can still do a humiliation Congo with Dom, and he can just get his head shaved, or he'll be banished from the AAA. I would not put it past the WWE or AAA to do that. But the way they're setting it up, especially with the known disqualification, it looks like Dom retains, like Kingo can't challenge, and then Dom will drop the title to El Grande Americano Ludwig edition in the future. I don't see Vikingo with that title just yet, even with the backing of Omos. And while Dom might get some Judgment Day down there to help, it may just be somebody completely different. You might get Santos. Santos is down there now. Dom and Santos were parted on good terms. They weren't fighting. You can have Santos down there to help Dom. Or El Grande Americano Original. So it doesn't necessarily have to be Judgment Day. No, what was the score on that?
89-125.
Oh no. Okay. And let's get into some Breath of Fire 4. I progressed this game a little bit just because I wanted to get past that maze in that town. So now we're kind of past where that, and we got to the point where Nina got hooked back up with her bestie, and now they're trying to getting around the river to get past that government, whatever that is, that empire. Senior says, but Santos will compete on the same day for the Latin American title. I mean, they can do double duty. I mean, nothing is really preventing that. I mean, just because you're involved. I mean, remember at AAA, Finn and what was that? Finn, JD, and Roxanne. They had their match, and then Finn came out to help, quote unquote. Finn was being his demented self, so Finn came out to kind of help Dom, but he still came out even though he had the match. Jacob, I have seen bits and pieces of Liv's interviews. I know she was saying that Judgment Day is a family. It was Dom saying Stephanie's words which made her cry, but again, I'll get into that later about the whole translation thing and what Dom said to Liv. Khalib said, "Did you see Liv and Raquel opening packs in Burbank?" I saw Raquel got Rey Mysterio's card. That's all I saw on that. But let me get into Breath of Fire. Let's see. What is that? Let me go back. I might have to. Yeah, now I have this big cat dude. This reminds me of Cat from Breath of Fire 2. That's that race of people. We also got to see a Rand type person too from Breath of Fire 2, and I kind of like that we're seeing those extra people. Chocobo. You and Brian, do you not agree? Yes. What did you expect, bro? Corey says, I think Monday we'll see Liv emotion in the promo. I'm like, I hope so. I have some thoughts on why people are all of a sudden upset about Stephanie's promo. But more on that later. Because a lot of people are coming to Liv's defense, and I'm like, this is the woman that called Stephanie a puta, so if anybody needed a clapback, that would be Liv, so... But I digress. I'll talk about that later. Jacob, Jade will be there because Liv is making her choice, pretty much. But I don't really think Liv is going to make an official choice on Monday. Senora said, do you think Liv and Stephanie should be the main event at WrestleMania Night 1? I only think that should be a main event only if Raquel is involved and you get the Judgment Day drama in there. If it's just Liv and Stephanie straight up, no. Because I think there will be a lot more of the other men's matches that would have a little bit more heat to it. It will be a good match, but unless we have Judgment Day surrounding it, like if we have everything around Judgment Day surrounding the match, then maybe the main event. But if it's just, but like I said, if it's just straight up, then no. That's why I was saying Raquel needed to be in this match. And if Raquel is in this match, you can still have that tension build up. What is a deep diver?
Bro, that guy's a cheater, bro.
If you hear my husband, he's playing World of Warfare 3. Cleve says, did you see Raquel's interview with Lana? I saw bits and pieces of it. Like, I can't keep up with all the interviews. The big one. There's a lot. I've pretty much been sticking to WWE Social Official. Because interviews add flavor, but they don't add the official context. I mean, you might get a hint or two, but I don't expect major spoilers to be dropped. Let's see. Cleve said, did you hear Liv say that she had dust in her eye, which made her cry, and not what Stephanie said? Yeah, I saw that. Jacob said, alright, let me pause it here. I'll get back to it. So, Jacob says, Yeah, baby. Hmm? Aye. What? Aye. So Jacob says, why are they doing Penta? I don't know. Like, unless Penta's going to win the IC title, which I strongly doubt at this juncture. I don't know why they put Penta in it. I think they might be setting up another multi-man for the IC. So you can have Penta, you can have Javon, and maybe Finn thrown in there. But see, that's the thing. I don't know if Finn and Dom or will be like the Intercontinental Championship match at WrestleMania. I don't think it's going to be straight up 1-on-1. Because you have Javon who can have a claim because he pinned Dom. And Penta's number one contender. So I kind of think they'll do multi-man on that. If Finn is in there. And I kind of don't want that for Finn because he's been in this main event. Sean Ross Sapp says something interesting, like in his speculation. So it's just a speculation from him, but not something official. But they said that since Roman Reigns had pretty much locked in the World Championship match, that they could do something like where CM Punk drops the title to Finn, and then CM Punk is having to chase the title to get it back so he can have his main event, and they could do something like that. So you could have it where Finn wins the title a little bit, kind of like how I was advocating for Raquel to do, like win the title, and then you can run it down where CM Punk is trying to get the title back and he wins it off of Finn because Dom cost Finn, or you can just make that a whole triple threat match. I know people always scream about why is there a triple threat match in WrestleMania, yada yada yada. Well, sometimes you can sneak somebody in there. So Cozy Ghostface says, I don't think Liv will win in WrestleMania. And this is where my speculation is going right now. Y'all who y'all who have been following me have said that I have already said that Liv is going to be set up for a hard fall so she can become this baby face. And that's what it's looking like. Because if you think of how Liv is acting now, they can totally just have her not win it to build up the drama for post WrestleMania, build up the stories after WrestleMania. I wouldn't put it past them, but I'll get into that later too. Um, Jacob says, "What do you do with JD after Mania? Are you talking about Judgment Day or JD McDonagh?" JD McDonagh, I want to be in single title contention. Judgment Day, my preference is Fracture instead of Implosion, because I think you still need a fraction like that. Because if Judgment Day implodes, that leaves the Division on Raw as the only faction, and I can't have that because Division is boring. Um, so speaking of Judgment Day, let's talk about them. There are two ways Judgment Day can happen, like we were talking about. Judgment Day implodes, or Judgment Day fractures. If Judgment Day implodes, this is how I see it can go. Judgment Day implodes, and it's only because they decide to do DirtyDevil, which is the pairing of Dominik Mysterio and Stephanie McCure, and I must give credit to Alex Omega on the X and on YouTube for that term, which is Stephanie McCure and Dom. Um, that's the only reason I can see Judgment Day imploding and everybody goes their different ways, because I can't see Stephanie joining Judgment Day. So if Judgment Day implodes, then you get that pairing. Personally, I don't really want this particular pairing, not because I'm rooting for Roxanne. It's a little bit of that, but it's not only because of that. I don't really particularly want Dirty Devil just because of it starting with the slap. We've already had Dom slap. We've had that happening with Liv. We've had that being physical with Rhea, and that part needs to stop with Dom. At least when it comes to the women. Like, I don't mind him taking shots during matches. That's fine. But when you're getting slapping and things outside of just like a wrestling match, I don't really like it. So, so I don't really want that because of how it started already. If Stephanie and Dom had some interactions that didn't have the slap or this kind of this weird start to it right now, like him being a translator for her, like I don't want Dom to be a translator. Like again, like I said, Io Sky, Asuka, Kyrie, Julia, they don't have translators. So I don't want Dom to be stuck in his translator role. So that is my personal preference for that. I'm sure Dom can make it work because he's making everything else work, but personally, I wouldn't want it. But the only reason I would see Dirty Devil, Dom, and Stephanie getting together would be a Judgment Day implosion. Will this kid give a great amount of heat to like a Liv Morgan Revenge Tour 2.0? And I can't really say that it will. I mean, yeah, it's something that mirrors what happened to Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam 2024. But Stephanie is out of the blue. It's not like she's been hanging around Dom. It's not like she's been fighting Raquel, but it's not like she's been interacting with Dom. It's not like she was interacting with JD. It's not that same interactions that Liv had when they were building up to her match with Rhea at SummerSlam. It's different. So I don't think that creates an amount of heat because all it will do is just Dom and Stephanie get together and then Liv, goes after Stephanie and then that's it. There's no layers to it. So that's the only reason. That's a couple of reasons why I'm not into like Dom hooking up with Stephanie because the story wouldn't be as hot as I think it should be for this to happen. Now, can Stephanie still go heel? Yeah, I mean, people are thinking this could be a double turn between Liv Morgan and Stephanie Ricure. And if Stephanie goes heel, yeah, but I'm not sure I want Dom attached to that heel turn. Like, let Stephanie turn on her own. Now, what I think more should happen is a Judgment Day fracture. And by fracture, is that Liv and Finn get kicked out. With Liv and Finn getting kicked out, it means that Dom becomes the leader. And see, that's always what I've been advocating for. Like, y'all know me, ever since last year, I said it's that Dom always needed his chance to become a leader or be in the leader type role, and he's never gotten it. It's always been somebody else. It's been Damien, it's been Rhea, it's been Liv, it's been Finn. So if the Judgment Day fracture, Dom has a chance on becoming that leader. Also with fracture, we're kind of halfway there where people would join up with Dom anyway. You have JD upset with Finn for not taking initiative to attack CM Punk. He was hard. It was hard for him to see Finn be embarrassed in Ireland. We already have that tension, and that could sway JD to Dom's side. With Raquel, Raquel's been dealing with Liv. Liv swooped in there, eliminated her. Raquel's been relegated back to the bar guard role position. If she wins Elimination Chamber or the qualifier, that could get started back up again, and that gives some more heat. And that can be swung over to Dom's side because remember, Dom did not like any of the posts that showed Liv eliminating Raquel. Go back in X and look for the repost because Liv was reposting her eliminate Raquel, but Dom didn't. So go back and watch that. Dom did not like any of those posts. So you have Raquel on it. Now and then we got the wild card Roxanne. Now, what Roxanne does, because I expect her to either be back either Monday or the Monday after Elimination Chamber. I think the Monday after Elimination Chamber is probably where she will pop up. Roxanne already has started things with Dom to lay groundwork for a relationship. And one reason why I would prefer DomRox is Dom gets a chance to be dominant. That relationship did not start with any kind of slaps. It didn't start with something kind of physical. Roxanne was not talking Dom outside his name. She came in pretty much, she's starstruck and puppy dog eyes. And that gives a different balance of what we've seen with Dom. We have always had the women with Dom just be, either taking advantage of him, attacking him, things of that nature. And then with Roxanne, we haven't had that. And that's what I would like to see. You know, I want to see a different dynamic with Dom. I want to see Dom be um, with something more dominant. If they're gonna roll it that way. Um, so that's where I would go with DomRox. And it's very leadership forward with just Renee fracturing. And Senor says, I'm sick of speculating on with another woman. He needs to go solo. I mean, this is the thing. I don't think they're going to have Dom solo for a while. He still needs some kind of form of Judgment Day. In his heel persona, he has not been built to be someone that's going to be on his own, unfortunately. He hasn't been built that way. So until they build Dom up to be someone who can be on his own, he's not. And usually if they're emulating Eddie, and that's what Dom has been doing recently, has been emulating Eddie, then you're going to have that women there around Dom.
Bro.
Jacob says, I can see JD cosplaying the Icy Silent Mania or Evil from NJPW join the Judgment Day. I don't know if people will, but that would be actually a good find, actually. And I have lost a lot of my things. Hold on. Um, 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 um. Jacob says, I get why they took Liv off the cover for Raw this Monday. They're going to be in Atlanta. What does that have to do with anything? Just because, what, Jade? Um, Khalib says, so Liv loses and wins the title on May 31st in Italy as a babyface can win. I mean, they could do that. You know, they always want to have their babyface pops or big things. They could totally delay it. This is TKO we're talking about. They could totally delay a Liv win just so she can have that pop in Italy. Oh no. You, Catherine. It's fine, Dad. Um, Dad, don't be mean. So we have that. So yeah, we could go either way with Dom. You could go with Stephanie or Roxanne. But I know people are leaning more towards Stephanie, and we could get that. But me personally, I don't want that. I think stuff has been built up enough with Roxanne. And if you do, that's why I was saying, like, if they do Dom and Stephanie, then nobody's going to be in Judgment Day. That's just going to completely implode because it wouldn't make sense for them to join. And that kind of leaves, and that's why I'm saying I don't think Judgment Day implodes like that because that leaves a lot of people in lurch. I mean, JD could go on his own kind of, and Raquel can kind of go on her own kind of, but Roxanne would be left in a lurch. But let's see. Jacob said no, they're doing it. Oh yeah, they are doing a tribute show to AJ Styles on Monday. Khalib says, so was Dom translating in English for Liv or Stephanie? He was translating in English for Liv, and I'm going to get into that because I have my whole shorts about that this past week. But he was translating in English for Liv, but he threw in something that Stephanie did not say. And people have been arguing with me semantics wise over the Spanish, but there's still no reason for Dom to say what he said to Liv. And I'll get into that. Senior says, so Tama Tonga is leaving the MFTs and reunites with Finn, his friend from the Bullet Club. See, that's another thing. You could still have Bullet Club reunite with Finn. You could have that. If AJ was still around, they could have still did Finn, Liv, and AJ. Who is that person? I always have a commenter who says, that Finn and Liv were going to be kicked out, and they're starting to look more and more right as things go, as it progresses. Because I thought it was just going to be like a Finn, and then maybe it was Dom and Liv, but now it just looks like Finn and Liv are going up. Because okay, did y'all notice that what Stephanie was saying to Liv and what CM Punk was saying to Punk is just pretty much saying, you're hiding behind people, you're hiding behind your man, you're hiding behind Judgment Day. And then Punk was saying to him, like, you should be elevating Judgment Day, but they've drugged you down. They've been an albatross on your neck. They're, everything has been coded for Liv and Finn to be like, you're better than Judgment Day. You know who hasn't gotten that kind of framing? Dom. Dom has not gotten that framing. Roxanne has not gotten that kind of framing. Raquel has not gotten that framing. And JD just got back, but he hasn't gotten that framing. So if you were thinking Dom would be leaving Judgment Day, you would be getting that kind of commentary like, hey, you're bigger than Judgment Day. They're just dragging you down. We haven't gotten that for Dom yet. That's why I'm saying I don't think he's going to be by himself. Until we start getting that kind of commentary or that movement where he gets positioned to be back on himself, then he probably won't be around a lot of women at that point. But until that happens, he's going to be in around the group, and I think that's why they keep putting him Dom in the group, because he'll elevate people, and that sucks as a Dom fan because you've been watching this since the original version of Judgment Day of how he elevated a lot of people. But he's getting to that point now where he has his own star power, and it's not just people leeching off of him at this particular moment. More Breath of Fire, and then I'll get back into it. Oh, come on. What are you doing over here? I kind of played through this one already. Get to the other side. Pun intended. No. Dragon, you say? win. I don't use Ursula anymore. Come on, down. Jacob said, do you think we'll get a Roman like title run from Dom in the future? Like where he holds it forever and forever? No, not really. I don't think they'll do that anymore. Despite Triple H liking long title runs. This reminds me of Rand. He was from Breath of Fire too. Senior says, for a week, that was a sad week with favorites didn't qualify. For EC Mello, Jacob, Lyra, and Dom. Lyra and Bailey are baffling. I don't like the way they've been really treated. I mean, they should be getting a tag team title run soon. Jacob, I think he's going to be in the triple threat match regardless with Drew. Dom not qualifying didn't bug me as much because he's been really annoying me with the translator role, so I'm like, you know, if he's gonna be keeping acts like that, then whatever. Like I said, do you see Dom and Finn on their Twitter bursts for either last night or earlier today? I know they were playing Fortnite. Pun intended. Got that. Cleep says, is Dom still doing his song selections on how his view with Liv is changing? Yes, Cleep. Go back to his stories and look at his song choices. I talked about this last week. He had a song by Bow Wow, which is pretty much Bow Wow getting over Sierra, I believe, which is pretty much signaling that he is over it, basically, like he's moving on. And that was the song choice that happened right after Valentine's Day. Also, if you notice on Valentine's Day, like, Khalif said he posted one by Future too. Okay, I need to check that. What was the song titled by Future, Khalif? Because he posted the Love Fool song and the Bow Wow song right after Valentine's Day. And those are just things that just pretty much signal like he's over it. And if you looked at how he was acting on the Valentine's Day date, he was smiling when Jade stole a chicken nugget or chicken tendy. Him and Roxanne were looking miserable during that Valentine's Day, like at times. Of course nothing works right. Jacob says, when do you think they'll do a PLE in Mexico? I don't know. You thought it would be this year, that in Puerto Rico. Senor said that's why Dom didn't take any picture with Liv backstage after Jade's match. I did remember I did point out that Liv did the exact same kind of post of Eat Your Heart Out like Rhea did, like, which pretty much predates the betrayal. Jacob says, Liv did mention going after those mixed tag titles in AAA in one of her interviews. I mean, I'm sure she's going to mention that stuff, just kind of like how she mentioned Ray as a deadbeat father-in-law. I mean, you got to keep up the appearance. It's kind of like how I was saying, like, Dom is keeping up appearances. I still think something happened. I'm still not sure what. It'll probably start coming out more and more now as we get closer to WrestleMania. Dude, I want to hear the instructions. Let's get this going. Oh, mini games. Alright. Let's do a little bit more talking, shall we? So... Cozy said, do you think Becky's retaining in Chicago's champion AJ wins the man? That's what I'm pretty much thinking. They're doing it twice. It may end up even with some interference, like with Natty and Maxine, because they're like involved right there. So I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, let's talk about translation, shall we? So, we all saw the interview Stephanie cut, where Stephanie cut her promo on Liv, interrupted Liv's little interview with Michael Cole, and we finally got the full translation of what Stephanie said. Now, the key sticking point, and big kudos to one of my commenters that pointed me in this direction, that showed that Dom said, "You should be embarrassed to Liv." This was after Stephanie had said what she had to say and she left. So this is Dom saying this on her own. And we must point out that Stephanie did not mention any kind of embarrassment in the official WWE translation. I'm using WWE officials. I'm sure there's variations because a lot of people are coming around and saying, well, you know, you can use this word to mean embarrassed. And that's what Dom said. Yeah, you can. But the key thing is, in the last line, Stephanie said to Liv, you won't win because if you choose, if you choose me, you won't win. And she proceeds to go on like, I'm going to be the champion, and you won't win. So Dom saying you should be embarrassed does not line up with what Stephanie said. So regardless of what Stephanie was saying, and Dom was attempting to keep translating for Liv, then we should have heard Dom say something like, you won't be she says that you won't be the champion. No, we got Dom saying you should be embarrassed. Now, even if, and like I said, even if Stephanie had any kind of that, she didn't in the official translation. That's what I'm going off of. But even if she was saying any kind of embarrassment, why did Dom phrase it that way? Dom could have phrased this any kind of way to soften the blow, to make it more easier for Liv, or just something which caused her less pain. But he went for the jugular and caused her pain. If you look at any of those screenshots of Dom looking at Liv, that doesn't scream someone looking concerned. Now, people were happy that he was comforting Liv, quote unquote. But if you look at the screenshots, especially the screenshots that I used in my shorts, YouTube shorts, and on TikTok, then that does not show something where Dom is like comforting Liv. It's showing somebody that looks like he's relishing giving her pain. So why would you use that terminology with Liv? He knew what to say to Liv that would hurt her. And this is where interviews come into play, where I say I'm not really paying attention to it, but you can get some context from it. Where she said that I think she said something like, hearing it from Dom, was more hurtful. And that's probably what they were going for. But again, Dom said that on his own volition. And like I said, even if Stephanie was saying some kind of embarrassment and there's some kind of like a translation issue here, still, it doesn't match up to what Stephanie was saying is. Stephanie was gone after Dom said this. So it's not like Stephanie was there to even correct what Dom said or to just kind of let it slide. Like, some people are saying they could be working together or they could be, but Stephanie wasn't even there to, like, correct it or be silent, where you could see where it's lending into maybe they are starting to work behind the scenes. Kind of like how Dom and Liv started working behind the scenes. But here, Dom said it on his own. And again, he went for the juggler here. And this is the one thing where they're using Dom to set up another feud. And this is what I was worried about. Is that where Dom is being used to set up a feud. Raquel is being used to set up a feud too, in her own way. She's, because she pretty much made Stephanie more interesting. She was fighting her. Yeah. And to add, to wrap it up, it's just more like the embarrassed lines is like he was not clarifying what Stephanie said. He was commentating, and he didn't choose to soften the blow. And it's also just showing that he's just detached from everything. Like, if he was that concerned about Liv, then he wouldn't have said it like that. And he's done appeasing Liv. Like, y'all notice how he would be doing everything for Liv, kind of like how he was trying to do everything for Rhea. He's at that point where he stopped. And that shows a huge change here. And this is something where you can almost see where this is a hint of AAA Dom coming out, because this is just someone that just went for the jugular. Like, and down, like during AAA tonight, he was just pretty much talking this shit to Raquel and Omos. And he's coolly confident pretty much in AAA. But here he was just going for the jugular. And this lines up with Eddie, like really cruel Eddie. Anybody who knows that Eddie, after he got caught on GTV, that Eddie that was, really abusive to China, that's where it looks like Dom could be ending up. That version of Eddie. This is the Eddie, this is the persona that I thought Dom would take with Rhea. But, of course, they're not going to do that with Rhea. So, they're probably going to do it with Liv, where it would be easier for him to do against Liv. They can't do it with Rhea because, of course, you can't do anything with Rhea. Like, any kind of character work you can't do with Rhea. The only one that's kind of getting it is Io, but even Io's, like, character progression kind of stopped. Her, Kari and Asuka's kind of stopped. Because they got absorbed into the Rhea bubble. But with Liv, if they want to do, like, if they want to speed run abusive Eddie Guerrero, then that Liv will probably be the perfect person to do that. Senora said, I expect to see next week a playlist for Finn during his time in Judgment Day. We're probably going to see that on Monday. We're probably going to get that playlist. Khalib says, if Liv goes babyface, does that mean bring back... if Liv goes babyface, does that mean she's going to wear her ring gear and stop the 3 Amigos? I mean, she is wearing her own ring gear. It just more leans towards Dom. But I always had a theory that she's just wearing gear that was designed to be used last year. and not any of her like newer stuff. Like this, you know, had she not been injured, she'd be wearing this type of gear. So now she's just kind of getting it out the way because now she can wear that gear because she's still with Dom. Jacob said, "Do you think the WWE may bring back the old cruiserweight title for the main rosters?" I don't know. I think they would probably turn the speed title into that if they wanted to. Clip says, "So does this mean Liv is going to stop posting, tweeting, and mentioning and liking Dom's stuff?" I mean, she was kind of doing that last year. And if you notice what Dom does, Dom doesn't like all of her stuff. He did enough. He did the good boyfriend thing after her Royal Rumble win, and then after that ended, you started seeing like him selectively liking stuff again. Like there was like, what was it? Last Monday she posted Daddy Dom and he didn't repost that at all. Go back and check on the X. And like here now, Dom is all here over here like reposting spin stuff like for Fortnite. Dom's doing that. Jacob says, "When do you think GTA 6 will be released? Isn't that next year?" So, more stuff. More about the fire. Excuse me. I hate how I have to change perspective. Hmm? Cleve says Raquel said in her that her and Liv are cool in the interview with Mana as Raquel lying. Probably. She's been giving faces throughout Raw in the background, just very brief. Finally. Okay. Oh. Good grief. What happened? Did they stop playing? No. Jacob says, will you be reviewing Chamber on the 28th? Yes, I will be. Especially if like Raquel's in it and Finn's got his match against CM Punk. That was fun. Alright, I gotta change that. Oh gosh. Jacob says, have you ever watched a NASCAR race? Nope. I've seen the bits and pieces of it. Okay, good time to save. Yep. All right, so huh? Aye. Let's let this Judgment Day grievances. Now, this is what currently is going on with the members of Judgment Day. So, at least towards um, where, how do I say this? Just grievances on how things are set up right now. So this is what's been going on with Liv. Have y'all noticed that Liv has been admitting in the interviews that she's used Dom? You remember how I had that thought a long time ago? Actually, not a long time ago. This was right after Survivor Series, where I finally said my theory that hi, my theory of Dom could cheat or betray Liv because he never got over Liv using him. But she's been bringing it up a lot. Like, why would you keep bringing it up? That's gonna be a linchpin. Like, Dom's gonna bring that up. He has never forgotten it. I think the only reason Dom let it go is because he needed to get away from Rhea. Like, he needed his exit plan. Liv was his exit plan, and maybe he tried to make it go of it for a little bit, but now she's starting to act like Rhea. If you notice, she's on that same trajectory. Being bossy, telling people what to do. You know, pretty much doing things for her own self. And now we're going back with that same path of Dom humiliating Liv. So this beat of Liv saying that she was using Dom to get to Rhea is ringing true now. It's like, you know how they say, like, Triple H ain't settled, the WWE ain't settled. That's gonna get brought up again. With Raquel, she has the bit of being eliminated from the Royal Rumble by Liv, and her title interference by Liv. So that points animosity from Raquel to Liv. And who was that was saying that Raquel was saying that she's fine? I'm pretty much think she will say that she's fine on the surface, but she's probably hasn't forgotten that. It's gonna come back up, but that's what happened. And you're gonna have to have a playoff to what happened at the Royal Rumble. I still wish that, we had this payoff sooner, but I think we're going to get that sooner rather than later now. And then with Finn, it's his leadership erosion, and we see him turning face. Like, he is feeling like maybe Judgment Day is holding him back. Maybe CM Punk was right. And he's not going to allow, he's going to start rising above Judgment Day. And with JD McDonagh, he probably seeing that the man that he was loyal to, is not the same man that he was. He's building resentment because Finn is changing. He's not the same Doc. And with Roxanne, she's still our wild card, and we still don't know what she is. I still think she's more linked to Dom. That's probably why she's such a wild card, because she doesn't have the story just yet. But I do think she's a wild card, and I think I expect her to be back around Elimination Chamber or after that. And it would be a really cool bit if Raquel got into Elimination Chamber. She helped out Raquel, even though she had like some issues before. Because initially I thought it was going to be Raquel getting kicked, but now it just seems like it's shifted to Liv and Finn getting kicked. So yeah, I think we are getting I think we're getting a pressure keg. Last segment is going to be the Raw review, because we do have to go over what I expect to happen on Raw, what I hope to expect to happen on Raw. I'm going to play a little bit more Breath of Fire, get us to a nice stopping point, and then I'll do my Raw review. Irish one? What the heck? Cozy Ghost Face says, "Do you think Monday Liv will bring her mugshot up?" I don't think she likes bringing that up. I don't think they will do that because that's more real life. I mean, they could to legitimize it, but I don't know. Is that a ghost dragon? What is that? Talib says, "Is Liv going to make a decision or keep stalling?" I think I think she's not going to make a decision, but I'll get into that in a sec. What are you doing with that? Oh my god. That's a male? You have no choice, huh? Okay, let's pay attention. Khalib says, "Why did WWE post Liv feature on Raw if she's not ready to make a decision? It's wasting everyone's time." Because they're dragging it out. Because they got Jade over here that needs a match, and then they got Stephanie over here that needs a match. I don't think they're going to have her do an official announcement because that throws up in the air. That kind of solidifies what happens at Elimination Chamber. But even then, it's not beyond the WWE to change its own rules. So I have my thoughts on what could happen at Elimination Chamber, but since Roman Reigns has already made his decision, they're just dragging out Liz as long as possible. Because they'll probably have her on Monday, she'll get stalled, maybe Jade comes out, maybe attacks her or something like that, and then she's gonna go run over there to SmackDown just to keep her on both shows until when she needs to make the decision. What? Jacob says, "Do you think Liv will pop up on NXT to confront the champ?" No, that's more Soul Ruckus thing. Oh my gosh. Oh, just gotta pay the 100 zenny so you can get the song. You better give me the song. don't get it either. Yeah. You got birthdays and yo, bro. Now you noticed that, huh? Okay. Let's save here. Let's get over here to the city. Now, what is that? Okay. Okay. Let me save here. At least I got a save here. Alright, let's get into the Raw review, shall we? Cleve says, so they want to add Raquel to the match and Liv Raquel to Stephanie. That's where I'm going, and that's where I'm going to go and get into the Raw review, because that's where I think that's ultimately what it's going to do. Otherwise, we'll get the other thing of just Raquel just costing Liv straight up, but... Jacob says, do you think Liv will surpass the 226 title day with the World Heavyweight title? I don't know. Senor says, Rio will drop the tag title on Iceman. Rio wins the chamber to face Jade at WrestleMania. I don't think Rio drops those titles, and I don't think Rio wins. I don't even think Tiffany wins. Because they tease Rhea and Jade, but they also tease Charlotte, and Charlotte's not even in the Elimination Chamber. I don't think the Elimination Chamber will determine Jade's challenger. I think it's going to be something else. Cozy Ghostface says, do you think Monday Liv will bring her dad pass away story? I don't know. I mean, she could go different ways with it. if they decide to go that path. Okay, so Monday Night Raw preview. We do know that Liv Morgan is scheduled to make her WrestleMania choice. Um, I still suspect that this will be blocked or delayed. Jade Cargill is appearing. That could be disruption. It could be a Stephanie disrupting, or she's going to make her choice and something else happens. I don't think she makes the choice on Monday Night Raw. And I think the WWE wants to drag this out some more. So I don't think she'll make the choice. She'll get close to it, kind of like how we thought she would be saying something to Michael Cole, but it ended up not being that. Next up, we got Raquel Rodriguez. She's going to be an Elimination Chamber qualifier against Kairi Sane and Io Sky. The Chamber needs another powerhouse. The only other powerhouse in the match is Rhea, and even though Kiana James, who I really like that she qualified, it's really strong. I don't think she has the strength like a Raquel Rodriguez is. So I do think she gets in. I think we're gonna get something where maybe Lash Legend and Nia Jax cost Io because of what happened on SmackDown, because they went out there to interrupt in Rhea's match on SmackDown against Julia. So I do expect Lash Legend and Nia Jax to show up. Kairi is probably, unfortunately, going to take the pin, and that furthers her split with Asuka, because Kairi won't be there to help Asuka in Elimination Chamber, and it'll be Raquel who wins, and that's who I hope wins. Raquel needs her credibility back, so she needs to win, and she gets some WrestleMania leverage, and this can point to a possible triple threat match path, which I'll display later. For Dom, this is going to be a check for him because he does have challengers for his title now. We got Penta officially, and then possibly Javon Evans, because Javon Evans pinned him. What we're going to be looking for is Dom still going to be a translator? Is he going to be attached to Liv? Is he going to be starting his own storylines? Hopefully he can be starting his own storylines. I don't mind Dom being around Liv, but he needs to be starting his own storylines. Even when Dom was with Rhea, he was starting his own stuff. He needs to start doing that. But if he's still in this translator role, that just needs me to believe that they're downplaying Dom for this big emotional betrayal or something for later on down the line, because they're minimizing what Dom is doing. And usually when they do that, that means something big is around the corner. And then we got Finn and JD. We got Finn Bálor, who's going to be building his feud with CM Punk. You could possibly see JD McDonagh act without permission. So what I say that is like JD, wants to soften up CM Punk ahead of their match at Elimination Chamber. So I do, maybe JD attacks CM Punk, maybe Dom co-signs on this, like he's supporting JD to do this because they think this will help Finn, but then Finn doesn't like it. I could see something like that happening. Finn is trying to become honorable and noble, and JD's not having it, and just decides to take things into his own hands. And I do think it will be interesting to see where Dom falls on that. Does he support JD? Does he support Finn? And I think he supports JD in this instance because they are the Judgment Day, and that's what they do. See, that was the kicker for Damien. Like, Damien wanted to be all noble. Like, he was grabbing Finn's beard, like, disrespectfully, might I add. Like, he was trying to be, like, this noble champion, even though it was Finn and JD and Dom helping Damien preserve his title reign, if y'all remember that. So it could be, like, Finn following the same path there. And, yeah, so, and then we will see if Roxanne pops up. Now, I'm not really expecting her to. She did say that she had a benign mass removed from her. And she said she'll be back soon. So I do think she will be back sooner rather than later. I don't think this was like an extended time for her to be out. It's not like she was like injured. It was just a removal of a mass. So I do think she'll be back. But where, I don't know. It could be tomorrow. It could be on Monday, or it could be the Monday after Elimination Chamber, or Elimination Chamber itself. But I think she will be back at least within the next 1 or 2 weeks. Some preliminary Elimination Chambers things. I do think Raquel, if Raquel gets into Elimination Chamber, I do think she has a way of winning it, especially like if she gets a win over Rhea. Like, I'm not sure they would do that, but if they want to really establish Raquel's credibility and get her over the hump where she could be considered a legit threat, they can have her win Elimination Chamber. And this is what I think they could do. Liv is prevented from making her choice on Monday. Raquel wins her qualifier, enters the Elimination Chamber, and she wins it. The following Monday, she decides that she's going after Stephanie because she and Stephanie have unfinished business. Even though Stephanie pinned her, she's still gunning for Stephanie. This is where Liv decides to throw her weight around as the Royal Rumble winner and decide to go after Stephanie, and that makes it a triple threat match. And then that will be a way to get that main event, because now you have Raquel, who really feels like her toes are being stepped on because she won the Elimination Chamber. Liv had not made her choice, and as soon as she made her choice, here comes Liv, stepping all over her toes, and then you get that emotional beat. Now, people are gonna say, well, like they say that the Elimination Chamber is for like the opposite winner. Now, this was a change because Triple H originally said that the Elimination Chamber winner could go after anybody, so they changed it on themselves. So the WWE doesn't even know what they want to do. You can easily have it where Raquel wins, Liv still hasn't made her choice, and she just chooses. And then she chooses Stephanie. Also, with Jade being there on Monday, you can resume the tension between Jade and Raquel. So if, like maybe Jade starts some shit and then Raquel steps up to her on Monday. So Raquel wins Elimination Chamber. It looks like Raquel is choosing Jade because they started that beef, but then she about face chooses Stephanie. So you could do that. Regarding Finn and CM Punk, this is preliminary. I'll probably be talking about this a little bit more on Raw on Monday too, but you could have a chance of Finn winning. Is it a good chance? No. But you can have it where Finn wins and just he carries the title for a little bit. And that could open up a lot of things. Maybe you have Finn appear in the main event reign right now, and then Dom is still just doing intercontinental things, and he this is what prompts Finn to get ousted because he is this champion. Senor says tomorrow they will announce Dom and JD versus Penta and Javon. They might. But Javon is still wrapped up in some of the El Grande Americano stuff, so it'd be interesting to see Dom interact with that. Cleve said, will Liv help Raquel win the match on Monday? I don't think she will. I think she's going to be all wrapped up. Like, she's going to be too busy. Like, she's too, how somebody's getting too big for somebody. She'll probably be too big, saying, she's going to be her choice. And Raquel just goes out and wins it on her own. Senora says, Khalib John said it should be Roxanne. Yeah, see, like, if Roxanne is good enough to be back on Monday, then she can help Raquel. And I wouldn't mind that, because that shows, like, some more solidarity on Raquel's side. Jacob says, do you think Liv will bring up the interview with Stephanie McMahon and about her family? I don't know. I mean, what Stephanie said to Liv was real life, but it wasn't so real life breaking that it broke kayfabe, if that makes sense. When you start doing that with Liv, then you kind of fully breaking kayfabe, and I know that they do that in the WWE now with Unreal and all that, but I don't know if they want to do that with Liv. All Liv has to do if she wants to get real, just say that she could just mention her struggles, how she was a third wheel in the Riot Squad, how she was injured, how she was afraid. She could say a lot of stuff back to Stephanie and still be within kayfabe. And I think that's it. Thank y'all all for joining me. I'll be back on Monday. Cleve says she could say she was compared to Carmella. Excuse me, compared to Carmella, and overlooked in the Riot Squad. See, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like she can say enough stuff in kayfabe. She doesn't have to go outside the box or outside of kayfabe to respond back to Stephanie. Oh, and speaking of that, I really don't like how some people were just saying like just being like awful to Stephanie for what she said, because what Stephanie said to Liv wasn't that bad. That's why I was saying initially, like, if this is all Stephanie said to Liv, then why is she crying? And then comes to find out Dom said what he said. But just taking it back to what Stephanie said, I just find it interesting that how everybody was just like so appalled about what Stephanie said when it was Liv that called Stephanie a puta. Like Liv attacked Stephanie, Liv called her a puta, but as soon as Stephanie gets the clap back, poor Liv. Like, I mean, I guess that just shows that they want to turn her, people want her face, but still, like, she started it. Like, that's her. She started it. Stephanie got spicy with her, and it wasn't even a full on heelish leaning promo. Stephanie is still talking about in her promo to Liv. She's talking about like being an example for little girls and other people, and like how she cut up. That was pretty much a really good face type promo, better than Cody Rhodes, if I believe, if you want to be honest. But she was just being spicy with it. She just showed up on her turf and just laid it out there, and all of a sudden now people are feeling sorry for Liv, even though Liv called Stephanie a puta. So, um, Dick says, "What do you think they will do with the WWE title going into Mania? It's going to be Drew versus Cody versus Jacob probably, and I do want Sammy. Somebody needs to beat Cody's ass, and I think they need to be Sammy. Sammy's going to realize that Kevin was right. Kevin Owens was right about Cody, and I think Sammy just needs to kick his ass because Cody was mad disrespectful, like. Because Sammy had a point. Like, he was doing this on the solid, and then here comes Cody just sneaking in, just winning any kind of way. Like, you're supposed to be the ultimate white meat babyface, and you're still in the way. Because a friend of mine said that, if Cody was actually being a really good babyface, he would just, waited till Sammy was on his feet and then they would resume the match from that point. You don't sneak in to steal the win from Sammy. So Cody needs to get his ass beat. Either Cody needs to get his ass beat or become Homelander, or Sammy needs to turn heel and just say that Kevin Owens was right about Cody. And I think that is it. I will see y'all guys on Monday. We will see what goes on Monday. Hopefully Dom is not just being in a translator role and he's doing some more things, like more Triple A side type heel Dom. We will see how JD is acting. We'll see how Finn is acting. We hopefully Raquel wins, because in this house we pull for Raquel Rodriguez, and hopefully Roxanne is back if she's feeling better. Liv, I don't expect to make her decision. I expect that to happen after Elimination Chamber, and then after that we will be officially on the road to WrestleMania. So I will bid y'all all adieu. Thank y'all all for joining me. My stream did not crap out because I have really optimized because my game drivers were out of date. So hopefully Y'all